Toronto, the beginning of winter in 1993. We've now been here a little over a year. It's middle of January now. Middle of January, just after a lovely snowstorm. And here is 91 Scenic Millway. Our home for the 18-month trip we'll have here in Canada. Portable home, 3 bedrooms, which 2 of them are offices. This is our basement playroom converted into a mailroom and storage space, and also spare bedroom when we have guests, and we've had most of our family here and some others during this time. It's been wonderful having them here. We bought this futon, and it's become a very comfortable bed for many people. These are some of the pamphlets that we have available for people who want to know more about the church. This is the view out of our living room window. A lovely garden in the back. A little snow, of course, this winter season. On this particular day, there's been a major earthquake in Los Angeles. Martin has called us and assured us that they're all right, but there was a lot of shaking there, and we've been watching live television coverage. This is Dianne Feinstein talking about the situation there. We have quite a library of church videos. In fact, we're just now finishing work on a series of monthly television shows on national television, Vision Network in Canada. It will be shown all over Canada in 80% of the homes, and it's been a big project, but we're happy with the way it's turning out. We also have a very fine library of church literature, including the Mormon Encyclopedia, the complete set of Journal of Discourses, and many other books. Dining room is adequate, and we've entertained a lot of people here. And so is our kitchen, both of which are somewhat in disarray right now because Donna's been busy cooking. And here's Donna at her desk and her computer. How do you like working here in this beautiful place?
Oh, I like it a lot. I don't know how we'll get along when we get home. We have to share a computer, an office space. We'll probably have a divorce.
I have to say that she's been just a wonderful companion. She's the one that keeps the thing going.
Exactly. That's exactly right. He does all the work and I do all the bossing.
Out of doors. The only furniture we had to buy when we moved here was the bedroom set. All the rest of it had filled up the 5-room suite of offices that were here before we relocated. One thing we've loved in this beautiful wintry weather is the pattern that the frost makes on our windows at night. This is one example, and there are many others. Every day is different, but they're just lovely. Such variety of shapes and forms. Here's a picture of what Donna has at her back as she works at her computer. And the next morning, in our bedroom, the window looks like this after a temperature that got down to about 16 below zero. Here's another window a few days later. Again, it's been about 5, 6 below zero during the night. We are just fascinated with the beauty of these windows, the lovely detail of the frost. This is the street we walked along on the way to church. You can see it's a beautiful street with lovely homes. We joked about how to tell the size and the expanse of homes by the garages. 3 garages considered to be a big home. 4 garages is supposed to be a really big home, and this was one of them on our street. One thing that fascinated us was the Jewish symbols that were stenciled on the streets in many of the neighborhoods where we are. Most of these big homes, I presume, are owned by Jewish people. And here's our church, the Don Valley Ward. It also houses the Chinese ward called the Bayview Ward. A big ward with tremendous cultural, ethnic diversity. Our meetings are just full. There's hardly a place to sit. And it's a ward with a great deal of intellectual ferment, too. Our high priest quorum discussions are about like they were in the Federal Heights ward. Our building, as you see, is right next to the 401 freeway, so it's very convenient for people to come. And right next door, to the south, is the Presbyterian Church, where we have attended several of their services and dinner party and become well acquainted with Reverend Beaton. They've been very lovely to us. We felt warmly welcome there. As you see, it's a very modern building. And we really enjoy the services there, as we have in the United Church and some others. One thing we've enjoyed being is so close to Niagara Falls. It's about 85 miles from Toronto. On this day, February 2nd, there's not a soul around. In the summertime, it's so crowded you can't get close to the edge to take a decent picture, even if this by this beautiful rainbow. Looking downstream, the Niagara River, as you can see, is frozen. Across the way, ice sheets all of the cliffs, the trees beyond, and everything is covered with ice. Here, this is Horseshoe Falls. This is the place where people go over the falls in barrels or other contraptions. One of them went over this summer on the day that we were there.
It's a beautiful sunny day at Niagara, but it's very cold, and it's pretty awesome as always. Always a surprise and always wonderful.
Looking at the American Falls on the other side of the river, and they are frozen almost to the top. One of the joys of being here in Toronto has been the temple. We've been able to come to quite frequently. It's hasn't been very busy, unfortunately. It's strange that more people don't come to it, but it is a long ways from Toronto, about 30 miles out in Brampton, and sometimes the traffic can be pretty fierce. We'd like you to meet the Nelsons. This is Roxy Nelson, who is a fine singer and member of the Mendelssohn Choir, and she's the wife of our bishop, Dale Nelson. And this is Nikki and their son Jesse. They've been very good to us. We spent Christmas Eve and Christmas night and Christmas Day in their home, the first Christmas we arrived here. And here comes our bishop. You can come now. This is Bishop and their oldest daughter, Nikki.
Just give it to Dale. He'll carry it. The things dads have to do. My goodness.
Say something to us, Bishop.
Pardon me?
Give us a good word.
Peace.
Live long and prosper.
Okay, Nikki, what do you say?
Peace.
Peace. Good.
Boys.
This is Bill taking pictures of the Nelson family for use in a book where he's written a story about the church. These are some of the nicest people that we've ever known. Roxy on the left, and then Nikki, and Julie, and Jesse, and Dale, and Grandpa Bill behind, telling them what to do.
Thanks, Finn.
1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're about to see a total eclipse of the sun. If we stayed here for another 400 years at this particular spot, we'd be able to see another total eclipse of the sun. This is going to be a particularly interesting eclipse because the moon is on its elliptical course around the Earth, is as far away from the Earth as it gets, and so as it goes directly in front of the sun. It won't completely block the sun, but there will be a halo around it at the time of total eclipse, which will come in another 15, 20 minutes. There. Complete, and there's a cloud in front. It's right up behind that bright spot.
You just almost see it. That's one point. There go the clouds again. Yep.
Clouds.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, oh no, you have to, that you can't see it. If there's any cloud at all, this doesn't work. If there's even a wisp of a cloud in front of it, we saw it with our naked eye there a minute ago. But it is really clipping along. These clouds are really moving. There it is again. Look at it with your eye. See?
Oh yeah.
You can't see it when there's any clouds. Bill,
There
use
you-
your eye.
Yeah, I see it.
Through here.
Can you?
But now I can't.
No, yeah, it's really comes and goes real fast. Look at how fast those clouds are moving. I got 122. Yeah, I actually have 123 right now. It's going to be all right. It's going to come right out in that little spot.
Okay, now it's total eclipse behind the cloud. It still is. What a magnificent instrument that sun is to give this much light when it's totally eclipsed from behind the cloud.
Here we go.
I don't know what you can see through here. I'm trying to take a picture through the mylar, but I don't know if you can see it. One of the favorite places that we have gone is Edward's Garden. Very lovely garden in one of the ravines. And we'll take a look at some of the beautiful flowers here. It's the spring of the year, and the ducks are all out in pairs. Too bad we don't have any bread to feed them. And they're quickly learning that we don't. And this is Wilkett Creek Park, which adjoins Edwards Gardens, and actually you can walk through a series of parks here along these ravines of the Don River and its tributaries, for 8 or 10 miles. Victoria Park Stadium is the station is at the end of this trail. These parks are great for running and bicycling, as you'd expect. And the great thing about Toronto is that there are parks along these ravines throughout the city. This great city of 2.5 million people has wonderful parks. The ravines were formed by the glaciers thousands of years ago, and in recent years homes were built in them, and so they would not be kept natural. But then in the 30s a flood came roaring down through the ravines, killed a bunch of people, and they decided that it could not be suitable for housing, so they were turned into these wonderful parks. Today in Canada, national holiday, and we've come to Ottawa, the nation's capital, on the last day of the Tulip Festival. And we'll be seeing a lot of beautiful tulips, but in the distance is the Parliament building, and of course the Canadian flag up on the left, or the right, I should say.
Yeah, it's at the Turkish Delights Cafe.
More tulips. And in the distance, the famous Laurier Hotel. War Memorial. There are tulips, of course, everywhere. This is just a box alongside the locks of the Rideau Canal. And these are the locks of the canal. The Rideau Canal is a historic one which goes from Kingston on Lake Ontario up to Ottawa, and was built by the British shortly after the Civil War, between the War of 1812 and the Civil War, to provide a safe passage to Upper Canada without having to go along the St. Lawrence River and Lake Ontario, where they feared that the Americans would control the waterway. It cost some 2,000 lives from yellow fever. It was never used because there was never any conflict after that between the British and the Americans. And this obviously is where the action is. Half of Canada seems to be here today on a beautiful day, 23rd of June, or of May, 23rd of May, it's Victoria Day. On the 6th of June, after doing some training and regional meetings in Detroit and Lansing, we've driven to Kirtland, which is, of course, the place of the Kirtland Temple and of the Newell K. Whitney store and the Johnson Farm. And it's a beautiful spot. Lovely rhododendrons in bloom just now. Tour of the temple. We're not permitted to take pictures inside. The temple was dedicated in 1837. It was here that the glorious vision of the Savior was seen on the breastwork of the temple. This home across the street from the temple is the Sidney Rigdon home, who of course was one of Joseph's counselors and left the church after his attempt to take over the leadership of the church at the time that Brigham Young instead was chosen. It's a very lovely grounds with this season of the year, beautiful rhododendrons. Lovely meeting area outdoors with a wide grassy field and surrounded by rhododendrons.
This is a beautiful sight, and it was wonderful to go through the Kirtland Temple.
5 Revelations, which is now section 1 of the Doctrine and Covenants, 133, and I think it was 65, 66, and 67. Altogether, he received 15 revelations, I think, at this home in Hiram, the Johnson home. Bed, Emma gave birth to twins, who died within 4 hours of their birth. Whereupon a brother Murdoch, whose wife had also died from giving birth to twins, asked Joseph and Emma if they would raise these twins, which they did. Some months later, a mob came, and while the twins were sick, and one of them was in this crib being tended by Emma, another by Joseph elsewhere in the house, the mob broke in and pulled Joseph out, tarred and feathered him, and the little twin boy died that night because of not being cared for. Joseph and Sidney Rigdon were both very badly injured that night, but his friends spent the night cleaning him up, and the next day he dressed and delivered the Sunday sermon here in this house, which was for about a year the headquarters of the church in Ohio. This is an upper room of the house, formerly a bedroom, but converted to an office for Sidney and Joseph. And here they spent most of the time translating the Bible, the Joseph Smith version of the Bible. And it was here, while they were looking at John 5 and 12 and contemplating what happens after death, that Joseph and Sidney received the vision of the Father and the Son and the revelation of the 76th section of the Doctrine and Covenants. And it was interesting that 12 men were in the room with them and heard them discuss each other, what do I see? And then one would say what he saw, and then the other would confirm it. Then the other would say, what do I see? And this what he saw. And for more than an hour, that revelation continued. And it resulted in one of the great sections of the Doctrine and Covenants, the 76th section. This, of course, is the exterior of the home. It's a beautiful place. The church has 160 acres here and operates it as a welfare farm. They grow strawberries and fruit, various kinds here.
Okay, this is the room where the prophet Joseph Smith and Emma walked into on February 1st,